Hey, it's 7 grains of salt. Do you really trust Trump? Well, I can tell you, I have some red flags for sure, and I'm going to try and go over them real quick. Because I woke up to him doing these signs, and that's what I'm going to try and show you, looking at a Minnesota convention speech that I just did a few hours ago. So here we go. Let's look at his hand signs and what he's saying during these moments.
That is why from day one, the wretched Washington swamp has been trying to nullify the results of a truly great and democratic election, the election of 2016. They're trying. They're not getting very far. The Democrats' brazen attempt to overthrow our government will produce a backlash at the ballot box, the likes of which they have never, ever seen before in the history of this country. They destroyed great people. They're vicious, horrible, and the media was behind every single step. Destroyed so many lives. They destroyed so many lives, and they're continuing to do it, and it's a disgrace. Our history, yet we have never seen scandals like Omar's in Congress, and nothing gets done about it. AOC has gotten away with campaign financing and what I call it AOC plus 3. That's what it is. And Omar is one of the 3. What AOC has gotten away with all of that money that she used for her personal self with campaign finance is worse, and nothing happens to them, but it happens to you, and it's not fair. Communities and taxpayers. I promise you that as president, I would give local communities a greater say in refugee policy and put in place enhanced vetting and responsible immigration control. These are very dishonest people. Do you understand that? Than they were before we started. They are some of the biggest victims of these power vacuums and reckless foreign adventures. The Christians. And we work hard with the Christians. We have tremendous evangelical support. We work hard with the Christians. We're slowly getting out of the Middle East. We're doing it carefully. And we're rebuilding our military like we have never rebuilt our military before. We will defend privacy, free speech, free assembly, religious liberty, and the right to keep and bear arms. We stand with the incredible heroes of law enforcement.
And this is just from one speech. I did this on many when I was really concerned of who he was. And it's exactly the moments he says certain things, he shows these signs. You need to understand, and you need to research if you don't trust me. And do you see how he spoke about the Christians as if he wasn't even one? So much to say, but let's move on. And anyone who tells you that if you do not support President Trump, that you are not a Christian, they're either blind or they are false teachers. There's no other way around about it. That's how I will stand, and I do stand. If you don't know about his Tree of Life award and his father, who also received a humanitarian award from the rabbis, they've been supporters of the Orthodox Jewish rabbis for years. Let's not even get into Kushner's and Ivanka, who he owns, of course, the companies. His parents are from the USSR. His building, of course, is the address 666. But he's a senior advisor to the president. His company received several loans from Israel Bank, Hapoalim. $30 million investments from Menorah Mivtachim, an Israeli company. Of course, when we go look into Ivanka, she dated a Rothschild. That should be a red flag to anybody. She's now a senior advisor to the president. So is this... I don't understand. Are they going to become presidents one day without even having to run? Are you seeing where this is going? She even converted to Judaism. She's in the Shabbat, so she is now Orthodox Jewish. They went to pray at the gravesite of Schneerson before President Trump won presidency. They've probably gone since as well. This is absolute blasphemy to the Lord and Savior. This is not a Christian nation anymore. Let's not, every time I go into people's sites, I try and explain that this man, Palantir, spoke at his convention in Cleveland. He's collected data from everybody and shared all the information to the police and the government. They have all the data. That's why we have the Silicon Valley. The social credit score system is here. I have video on that as well. Then there's Wilbur Ross, who's a former employee of the Rothschilds, who helped him so he wouldn't foreclose on a Las Vegas site. But then let's start to look at Trump's penthouse. He lives there. He hasn't moved. So if he has become Christian, with everything that's in this apartment, you would think he would have moved if he really did become a Christian. There's mythology, deities like paintings and statues. There's so much more. I'm going to show you a video on that. And it also replicates the Grand Lodge, basically. It looks like a Freemason lodge of gold. Let's take a look.
Because from ground level, it's kind of hard to see what's going on above them. Now, folks, watch this. Based on what I'm about to show you, I'll say it right now. Trump Tower represents the dualism of Baal's pillars. It represents the male portion of the anatomy and the inverted triangle of Asherah and the mystical grove of trees. It appears that Trump Tower was built to be a temple, number one, and number two, it was built to be a continual invocation to the spirit world. And now when we look at his penthouse, right here we have pictures of his penthouse. His penthouse is decorated with paintings and artwork that pays homage to the deities of ancient mythology. On his ceiling, he has a painting of Apollo on a chariot being led into the sky by Aurora. He also has Apollo on his mantle. Additionally, we can find other carved images in his penthouse. There's one of the mythological deities Eros and Psyche. Why does Trump have this? Well, some could say it's just decoration. He's into mythology. He likes the storyline of Apollo and finds it neat. We could say that. Now, before anyone says it's no big deal, I want to remind everyone watching this of the prophecy in the book of Revelation. It's found in chapter 9, and it says, "And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power." This is a prophecy of what's going to happen during the tribulation period. At some point in the future, God is going to allow the bottomless pit to be opened. He's going to allow that hatch to be opened so that demon creatures will come to the surface of the earth to lay waste to those under judgment, to those who have rejected God. And 11, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue his name is Apollyon, which is another rendition of Apollo. Is the picture. This is Trump Tower before your eyes. The inverted pyramid that represents the female Asherah is built into his building. It's right there. And we also see above the inverted triangle 7 pillars rising, which represents Baal. So we have the female and the male in Trump Tower. What does this mean? It means that Trump's inverted triangle of Asherah that's on his building in the exterior of his home for the last 33 years represents 666. And it doesn't stop there, folks. Look at this. The fertility cult always places a grove of trees. Trees represent the feminine. And how interesting is it that Trump's inverted pyramid is made up with a grove of trees. And also, when you're looking from afar, the trees appear to look like the private area of a woman's anatomy. It's right there, folks. This so that he would be rewarded with earthly riches and power. Now let me take it even further. Trump Tower is a temple to the deities of the underworld, and his penthouse is a temple to Freemasonry. Now, this is from Manhattan's Lodge in his same town. Now look at the chandelier on the ceiling. It's round and there's two of them. There's a pair of them, and toward the bottom of the chandelier is a little bulb that extrudes. Now let's look inside of Trump's penthouse. Look at his chandelier. They are similar. Is that all there is? No. Freemasonic lodges will often feature the twin pillars of Jacob and Boaz. That's the name that God gave to Solomon when he built the temple for Israel that was dedicated to him. God told him to place two pillars on the outside and name them Jacob and Boaz. And Jacob means he will establish it, and Boaz means by his strength. So together it means by his strength God will establish it. And often in their Freemasonic lodges they will place imitations of Jacob and Boaz, the pair, the two pillars. Here we see another Freemasonic lodge, and we can see that they have the pillars in pairs. There's several images right here. Now, let's look at Donald Trump's penthouse. The pillars are installed also in pairs. So there you go, folks. The evidence is before you. And I conclude, and I am of the opinion that based on what we have seen, Donald Trump is a cloaked member of Freemasonry.
I suggest watching that video in its entirety. It was really good and not very long. I think about 38 minutes or so. So he brings a lot of things. A is the way he stands or sits with his hands in a certain position. Certain things that elites have done to show in plain sight who they stand with. And this country, America, and as well as many countries around the world, if not all, are doing rituals. We have the Burning Man and the Bohemian Grove, Baal worship. I mean, we even saw the Moloch show up in Italy, and the Pope approved it being there. So much. But then also B, a certain pin that his members wore when at the campaign. I mean, it shows Freemasonry. At least that's what he's thinking it might be. Then we have the Trump penthouse, of course. And that's not even looking at his other international towers throughout the world that are very interesting, like symbols and shapes. I mean, just look at especially that one there. What does that remind you of? Vesica Piscis. That's what this is right here. These two look like they're two people hugging. I don't know. Maybe other people would have other comments on these. And throughout the world, look at this Vancouver one. Doesn't that look like the snake, like in the Pope's at the Vatican? Well, last but not least, Apollo and Lucifer, they also discuss this in Enter the Stars. I'll add the links. Really good information, and you can also have discussions there. So, but these are my opinions and what I have seen. There's so much more, and I'm not even grazing on the surface of what has happened, because I haven't been able to look at all the things, all the laws that have been changed throughout his presidency. But I'm just warning that mandatory flu shots are definitely coming. They're sending people home to their own countries from even Italy. It's coming. No one's going to be able to fly or go to school without having these shots. We have the Noahide laws. Many people have been arguing from the Dan Bongino show, saying it's not a law. It's not in there. It only happened 1 year. No, he signs them every single year, just like every president has. The Orthodox Jews come there every single year to make sure that they sign these, and it will be enforced. It is in the UN laws as well, which will be taken over by the Sanhedrin eventually. So much is happening, and we don't need to have a third temple like many pastors are saying. We are the temple. We are. As long as you have Christ, we are the temple. Jesus is all we need. Keep your eyes open, because they're showing us many things. So before I let you go, I just wanted to show you that even they keep using the number 33 everywhere. TM Films also shared that. And just wanted to share another sign that I saw in Taive, a company here in Finland, showing the exact same symbolism. Just thought I'd add it. And once again, on the swan, I saw a new book that just came out, and as well as a new show talking about Hotel Swan Helsinki. I don't know what it means, but it's unusual, and they use symbolism wherever they can. So just thought I'd share, and these few symbols here from our bus system that I've noticed several times, and it bothers me, but I see them everywhere. If you only have eyes to see, you can see them. And a new show that came out here in Finland, and you can see the triangle, 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3. The Masked Singer. I think someone covered this. I'm going to cover this one day soon. But until then, God bless, take care, and have a great day.